So today we're going to be going through finding your first unsaturated wholesalers. Now, if you've stumbled here first before you've done any other wholesale education, you're pretty lucky, and don't just take my word for it.
It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. The price, I think it's priceless. I think if you're serious about starting a business, guidance by people who are genuine and people in the know is invaluable. You're always going to make mistakes, and that's all part of the business. But if you talk to someone like H, you can limit those mistakes straight away and save yourself money. In this world and this business, there's a lot of people claiming to be this and that, and they will, take your business and elevate it. But you've got to read in between the lines. Your course is very valuable. I think it's grounded, one of the best out there. And I've done a few courses, and it's definitely the best out there at the moment.
Around the time of our first call, I was just about touching 10K a month. I couldn't really break that barrier. Now I'm doing about 50K a month upwards, but consistently hitting that 50K a month mark, and I've obviously implemented all of the stuff you've told me, and it's been amazing. It's directly changed my business for the better. And you told me, over 15 methods, I believe it was 15, 16 methods. And every single one of those methods we've used to get suppliers, Definitely take the chance. It will 100% have a positive effect on your business. It transformed my business, and as far as I'm aware, one of the people I spoke to has transformed theirs as well.
I think this month's going to be our first 100K a month, personally.
Yeah, I think this month should.
It should definitely be our first 100K a month.
So today we're going to start with obviously what the wholesale model is, what is entailed within that model, then lead on to how we're going to go about finding our suppliers. So by the end of this session that you're watching, you should be able to find at least 50 unsaturated suppliers which you can go out and contact. And what I want you guys to do is, after you've watched this session, message me on Instagram of exactly how many suppliers you have found by using this method. And I'm not talking about your crap suppliers that everyone can see on Google. I'm literally talking about these suppliers which you would have never heard of before. You wouldn't be able to find just by using Google. And the stuff that we're going to go through and the stuff that I'm going to teach you is you're not going to find it elsewhere. I've spoken to hundreds of people who have invested thousands elsewhere in mentoring when it comes to Amazon, and they know shit all when it comes to this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually go through methods that you can do to find unsaturated suppliers. Now, you might have seen other people out there on social media selling mentoring for thousands, and all they're going to do is tell you to go on Google and type in some shit that's just going to lead you to the most saturated of suppliers. These suppliers ain't going to make you money. You're going to buy stock and it's going to get liquidated because there's so many people buying from these suppliers. But then again, you've got to think these mentors do not care about your money. All they want is to tell you to look, jump on Google, type in wholesale this, type in wholesale that. You might have access to 50, 100 suppliers, but so does the rest of the UK, so does the rest of the world. What we're going to go through today is how you can find suppliers you can actually make money with, suppliers you can actually make a long-term business around, and suppliers no one else will be able to find. These are the suppliers you're going to be able to develop relationships with, work closely with over the long term, and suppliers that are going to put money into your pocket month on month on month. Forget months, years and years and years. So before we crack on with this method on how we're going to find out unsaturated suppliers, I guarantee you'll be able to find at least 50 after this session. Message me, and if you haven't, I'll buy you a Nando's. Yeah? So as you can see on this slide, the first thing that is involved is first finding out unsaturated suppliers. We need to make sure we start off on the right track, because like we've covered, using Google, you're going to come across all of these suppliers which are extremely saturated. We're going to come across suppliers which are very difficult to develop relationships with. And also something you want to think about is, now imagine suppliers that we want to be working with. We want suppliers who are in close, in tight with brands, in tight with bigger international suppliers, in tight with UK big suppliers. In order for us to find these companies who've been around for 20, 30, 40 years, we've got to think, do they give a shit about being on Google? That's what you've got to think of. So we've got to think, how can we find these suppliers that have been in the game for years on end, that we can actually develop relationships with, and we can actually build a long-term business around that will put money into your pocket over the long term. So what we're going to cover now is one of the 20 methods that I teach. I've just been hit with a stupid amount of messages over the last year or two from people who have invested thousands elsewhere and they don't know how to find a single unsaturated supplier. Let's take Nivea, for example. Let's say we wanted to stock a Nivea product. The suppliers we want to be working with when it comes to, let's say, Nivea, for example, they don't give a shit about people Googling Nivea wholesale to buy 1, 2, 3 cases. These companies are hidden in the more professional world. So let's go through how we're going to do that now using one of our methods. So for this first method, we're going to go through is essentially we are going to be using websites that contain a lot of trade shows on. So let's go ahead and go onto this website now. Here we've got a website called Trade Fair Dates. So what this is, it's a website which contains trade shows with dates which are going on all around the world. So what we're going to do is we want to click into here, click into the fairs section, and then go in and let's first of all look at trade shows by activity. What we'll do here is go through these different activities. Let's look through. Obviously, we're not after animal feed stuff. We're not after antiques. We're not after aquatics. So we'll go through, see what we're after, being Amazon sellers. So I would say we would somewhat be interested in, let's say, consumer goods. What we'll do now is now we're presented with a wide variety of trade shows of consumer goods. So we've gone in, selected a trade show from IAW. So essentially what these trade shows hold, which as you'll see now, are companies which you can contact and open up accounts with. So let's see which exhibitors are at IAW. So here we're now on the IAW website. First things first, what we're going to do is click into the list of exhibitors. Let's find a category of products which we're after. Toiletries sell pretty well on Amazon, so we'll click into toiletries and cosmetics. So as you guys can probably already see, I pretty much guarantee you would never have come across any of these companies before on Google. So now this is what these guys, which you see on social media, selling mentor and selling courses, are hiding from you. They want you to be chasing your tail around these same 30 suppliers, which you see on Google: MX Wholesale, Harrison's Direct, Wilson's Colchester, CN Wholesale, Price Check, Rayburn, all these companies which anyone who started Amazon yesterday can have access to. What we're doing here is finding companies no one will be able to find. So why do you guys think they ain't going to show you how to actually find suppliers which will make you money? Well, it's pretty simple. They ain't going to show you because they do not want you as competition. Now you might be thinking, why would I be showing you how we find our suppliers? Because I can tell you for free that is, even if I gave you my suppliers, you are not going to have the relationships I have with my reps. I'm literally best friends with the reps I work with. I speak to them pretty much daily. I go Nando's with them. You can contact them. You are not going to get the pricing I'm going to get. So what I'm doing here is showing you the methods you can put in place to find your own unsaturated supplies and develop your own relationships and make something for yourself. So now I'm at a point where I work closely with 10 to 15 companies and sales reps. So I'm happy. I can now go out and show you guys how to actually find your own suppliers. You're going to realize just how unsaturated wholesale is and just how much opportunity there is for you to develop something over the long term. So forget this Google shit. Let's go through what's going to actually make you money on Amazon. So now what we're going to do is we've obviously filtered this trade show for toiletries and cosmetics. So we're going to scroll through and see what companies would be of interest to us being Amazon sellers. So I wouldn't even bother clicking into that. There's no logo. So let's click into here, open a new tab. So what we're going to do is just open all these in a new tab. So we'll stop there. We've gone through a couple. Let's click to this one for everywhere. Click to there. Let's go through. There we go. So they work with Vileda. That's one company which I know straight off the bat sells pretty well on Amazon. So let's go on to the next company. So obviously we're going to go through these pretty quickly. Yep. And obviously something which you want to take note of as well, we are not going to be interested in all these suppliers we come across at these trade shows. So essentially what we're doing here is extracting the suppliers that would be of interest to us. There we go. So just like I said earlier, Nivea. You type in Nivea Wholesale UK, this ain't coming up. What's coming up when you type in Nivea Wholesale UK, according to everyone else? MX Wholesale, Harrison's Direct, all of that crap. They ain't going to make you money. Companies like this are the sorts of companies you want to be finding and approaching. So just like that, we found a supplier of Vileda. We found a supplier that supplies Nivea, Dove, L'Oreal, Pantene, Head and Shoulders, sorry. So we'll go through these guys' brands. There you go, Duracell, Philips, Kodak, Energizer. All these brands which you know sell well on Amazon, stocked by this supplier. Now something else which you want to know as well is look at the quality of this website. And obviously something like this is highly unlikely to rank well on Google, but these are the sorts of companies you want to be working with. There you go. It's been in the game since 1981. So something you want to realize is that these websites are shit because they do not care about being on Google. They're not going to market on Google. They've been around for 30 years or so. How are they going to find their customers? They're going to be in avenues and different areas where other businesses will be, where the sorts of customers which they're after will be looking. Their customers ain't looking on Google. They're looking at trade shows. On to the next one. So we've got Artist Beauty. This is a German company. Let's click in. Let's see which brands these guys stock. Just like I said, guys, we've literally just clicked into one trade show on this website, which contains however many trade shows are there. And we've already found, 5 suppliers now, which stock brands which we'd be of interest in, and no one else will be able to find. There we go. They stock all these brands which move well on Amazon. Inecto, I'm pretty sure I saw Maui Moisture, if that's how you even pronounce it. So just from this one trade show, and don't forget, we've just clicked into the toiletries category. You can only imagine how many are contained within this trade show for you to contact. So going back to this website, you might think, okay, H, great, we found one UK company and about 3 or 4 international ones on this first website. Let's say you're not too familiar with the importing process. How can we go and narrow these companies down at these international trade shows in order for them to be only limited, only UK companies? All we're going to do is simply go back onto the site. Very simple, keyword search. We're just going to type in LTD. So now what this is going to do is it's going to bring up all the limited companies at these international trade shows. And what do you think we'll do here? Go in and contact them, because they're based in the UK, so it shouldn't be as difficult for you to reach out to them. There we go. They stock, I can already see here, Duracell. There we go. We've got Duracell, which they stock. Obviously, stuff like that ain't going to move well on Amazon, your car batteries, but there we go. Duracell, Panasonic, Energizer, so we can contact this company as well. Grant and Bowman Limited, let's click into their website. So as you are probably seeing now, all of these companies, there you go, that said established in 1967. All these companies are what's being hidden from you. And this is just one of the methods we're going through right now. These are what not only Google's hiding from you, but everyone else is hiding from you. These are the sorts of companies you want to be reaching out to, contacting, working with, developing relationships with, offering value to. These are the companies that's going to set you up for the long term. So as you can see there, we've gone through literally, I would say less than 5% of this trade show and the companies at this trade show. And we've found suppliers which are 5,000 times more likely to give you a sustainable business, put you in a position whereby you'll have that long-term income coming in, whereby you can develop relationships with them. And they're working with these companies which are staring in everyone's face on Google, which are going to leave you in the same rut, basically. So we've just gone through the trade shows by activity on this website. So what we'll do is we'll switch it up a bit now. We'll go through trade shows by country. So all you want to do here is select a country. Let's select any country you want. I'll just go for Poland. So what we're going to do is when you select a country, go through all the trade shows which are taking place in this country and click into ones that, there we go. That sounds pretty perfect. Dedicated to all aspects of selling online. Thank you very much. We'll go through, obviously we're not after construction, we're not after beer, well, not to sell on Amazon, we're not. Let's go through wine again, can't shift that on Amazon. Stock, multi-industry trade show. So what we'll do is we'll click into there. So now we've got 2 shows which we want to go through. We'll take this one. So now we've clicked onto ready stock. What we're going to do is click into obviously for visitors and click on a list of exhibitors. So now we're going to go through these list of exhibitors and see what companies would be of interest to us. Remember, the companies that will be of interest to us are companies that stock brands, big brands, name brands, which move well on Amazon. There we go. We've got a company here that sells electronics, toys, and sporting goods. Let's go in and contact this company, or find their website first. Click in. There we go. Europe's leading traders of quality branded stock. So there we go. They're 40 years in the game. Great. Contact number. Something I'd recommend as well is when you do start calling internationally, get a new SIM. £5 a month, £10 a month, just to make these international calls. I'm telling you from experience because I have accidentally before made a phone call off the wrong SIM and it cost me 400 quid for a 50-minute phone call to America. Did we end up buying from that supplier? Nope. Did I waste 400 quid? Yep. So take that piece of advice from me. So on to the next one. Let's see what other company we can find at this trade show. So let's go down. There we go. We've got a leading importer, exporter, wholesaler of B2B. Perfect. They specialize in wholesale of branded sale goods. Perfect. So what we're going to do, take that company, click to the website. well, we've been catfished there, haven't we? So a company like this wouldn't follow up with. Rigor Trading is a recognized and respected international wholesaler of high quality branded goods. Perfect. That's literally what we're after. What we're gonna do, take that company. There we go, international stock trader. They work with Tommy Tippy, Yankee Candle, big high street brands. There you go. You are not gonna find, see their website's not even secure. You are not gonna find companies like this, searching on Google, very generic terms. Like you're gonna type in Yankee Candle Wholesale. Is this gonna come up? No. Is your generic rubbish gonna come up? Yes. So this is what we wanna be doing. Utilizing websites which contain a lot of trade shows. On these websites, we're gonna extract trade shows which we would be of interest in. Look at these trade shows, filter through the companies which are at these trade shows, and then go in and contact the companies that we want to move ahead with. Companies like this, they stock Tommy Tippy, they stock Yankee Candle, two brands which we know sell very well on Amazon. So what we'll do now is we'll go through onto the third one. For example here, Singleton Trading. So a company like this is a bit different to your conventional wholesale because they specialize in stocking surplus stock. Now you've got to imagine that if you're an OA seller, you're buying stock in low volumes and that stock you often can't replenish. So let's say you love the OA model, you can still use companies like this because obviously if they're buying surplus stock, obviously there will be a limited amount of it. Click in here, don't have a website, which is not ideal. So what you do here in this case is we'd literally just give them a phone call, find out more about their business and move from there. On to the next one, United Brands. They've been operating since 2009 and they specialize in the distribution of recognized brands, which is again what we're after. Copy that, paste that, United Brands. There we go, United Brands Wholesale. This might be the one. So just like that, you can see how we've used unsaturated trade shows even, because we could have gone on very saturated trade shows that go on in the UK. For example, you've got Spring Fair, Autumn Fair. That's two off the top of my head. But what we've done here is we've got unsaturated trade shows from around the world to find suppliers no one else will find, not only in the UK, but also internationally. These are the sorts of suppliers you guys want to be working with. And these are just one of the 20 methods which we use. So you should be able to see just from this little segment of a session how unsaturated wholesale is and how much opportunity lies there when you approach it correctly. So now we'll go back to looking for trade shows by location. We'll do one more. I've given you guys enough to go off and find as many suppliers as you want, but I'll do another trade show. And we'll end it close to home. We'll end it with UK. Click United Kingdom, first the worst, second the best. We'll click onto the second page. So what we're gonna do now is literally what we've been doing. Click into trade shows that we would be interested in. There we go. Food and drink and hospitality. There we go. Food and drink. We could be able to stock some grocery products from companies which are at this trade show. Click to there, get rid of that. IFE, let's copy the link. Paste that into there. So what we're going to do is we found IFE here, which is a trade show which exhibits company in the food and drink sector. So obviously that'd be of interest to us because we know grocery foods sell pretty well on Amazon, especially when it comes to wholesale. Why is that? Because especially when you're VAT reg, you got 0% VAT, which you can utilize. So we'll click into IFE, click into their website, open it up here. Brilliant. We got an exhibitor list of all these companies which are at this food and drink event in London. What are we going to do? Rinse and repeat. We're going to go through, see what companies can be of use to us. So we're just going to go through. Let's click into this first one here because I love candy. So I'm going to click into the 3D trading imported candy company. So what I'll do is visit their website. Just like that, we found a leading candy wholesale distributor. So they cater to wholesale customers as well. So that's where we're going to be going in, positioning ourselves as, because we want to be buying stock in volume and consistently. So this will be a really good company for us to contact. Again, like I said, you ain't finding this doing your Google searches. You're going to be left with something like KD Wholesale or Hancock's Wholesale. Good luck trying to source anything and develop relationships with those guys. So now what we're going to do is we've been scrolling for a bit. We found another company here called Arc34. So what we're going to do is, let's just type that in because they don't have an image there. Arc34. Click into there. There we go. So they stock all of these brands here. which all move well on Amazon. Johnson's, Sanex, Head and Shoulders, Nivea, Gillette, Dove, Shaw, Colgate, the list goes on. So the difference is, you type in Dove Wholesale UK on Google, you get all that crap. You find suppliers like this, which stock all these branded goods, don't care about being on Google, who've been in the game for years, who you can develop relationships with. This is where you find long-term profitability when it comes to doing wholesale. So now what we're going to do is keep scrolling through this trade show, and let's click on to the next one here. We've got a Beagley Copperman BV. Clicking to there, sounds fun. Let's have a look at their website, see what they hold. There we go. We know Samyang moves well on Amazon, and you can look at all of these brands. They hold at least 100 brands there. So you'd go through these brands, see which ones move on Amazon, and obviously stock them. Again, like I said, you ain't finding this on Google. This is what's been hidden from you essentially. Type this on Google, you'll make X amount per month. No, you won't. You've got to learn how to find the wholesalers first. Yes, you can find crap wholesalers, but what do we want to find? We want wholesalers which will not last us 2 weeks. We want wholesalers which will last us 2 years, 3 years. So we've just gone through one of the 20 methods that we use to find unsaturated suppliers. We're barely touching the surface when it comes to finding suppliers no one else will find. But something which you've got to realize is that all the suppliers that you find, unsaturated suppliers that you find, are pretty much pointless if you don't know how to vet them, negotiate with them, contact them, approach them, and work with them and offer them value. So as you can see from this workflow, we've got 10 steps. What we want you to realize is if you follow these 10 steps in a systemized, controlled way over the course of 8 weeks, 2 months, you could set yourself up in the perfect manner to leave your 9 to 5 and build a consistent full-time income. So really, if you guys really want to put your mind to it and apply yourselves and go out and build a 7-figure business and build something that will last you the test of time, it's simple, it's there for you. When you break it down, really, it's just 10 steps which are involved in this workflow when it comes to running wholesale successfully and with some element of sustainability and longevity. So guys, thank you very much for making it this far. If you've got any questions in regards to anything that we've covered, feel free to book a call in with either me or one of my team using the link down below, and we'll be more than happy to help. Thank you again.